All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to SharpEdgeNews.com. I trust that all of you are doing very well. We're back with another show. Let's talk about the opposition United Front versus Electoral Act 2026. So what do we have here? A blueprint for manipulation, they say, or the sanctity of the ballot? It's a question. Nigeria's opposition just declared war on the 2027 rulebook. The battle lines for 2027 were officially drawn this weekend in Abuja. A coalition of major opposition parties, including ADC, NNPP, and remnants of the PDP, held a joint press conference to formally reject the newly signed Electoral Act 2026. They are calling it a legislative trap designed to ensure an APC victory long before the first vote is cast. While President Tinubu's camp insists the act, which includes a new IREV result checking mandate, is a win for transparency, the opposition is pointing at what they call dangerous loopholes in manual transmission. The ADC is calling the state-sponsored intimidation. They're calling this the state-sponsored intimidation. So the question now that we're going to answer now is this. Is the opposition finally waking up to form a mega party? I didn't say MAGA, I said mega party, like the APC did in 2013, or are they just shouting into the wind? We're going to get into this analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. All right, Chief, welcome back. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Hello, viewers all over the world.
Right. So here's the question. Is the opposition finally waking up to form a mega party like the APC did in 2013, or are they just shouting into the wind? Give us your analysis.
And the answer to that is also blowing in the wind. Obviously, I do not think they are just waking up, but they tried mustering all forms of resistance to make sure that the government of the day in Nigeria, that is the All Progressives Congress, APC, would be an all-inclusive government when it comes to carrying along citizens and the critical mass of stakeholders in the Nigerian democratic process. However, you may say, and arguably so, that the opposition in Nigeria waited for a little too long before they got hit with kind of rigmarole and the manipulations of the ruling party. The issue here is that the ruling party has become a constellation of master riggers, people that are experienced, whether in using a pro-democracy antecedent to win the trust of the people of the nation, which they will later abuse, so much so that they also transmogrified into what you will call elected politicians that have now used a perfected act of state capture to bog everybody down. So whenever people in the opposition or civil society groups try to raise their voice now, trying to push back on what they suspect to be deliberate encumbrances within the system such that free and fair process could be guaranteed in upcoming electoral processes. They are overwhelmed. Whether they go to the law court, where they are often told, when they must have been told beforehand that, oh, you can go to the law court, they don't really have a guarantee that the system will favor them. And when they try to use the legislative option, they are simply depleted in their ranks such that they can only have their say. That is, if they are ever allowed at all to have their say, they don't ever have their way. And of course, the obvious situation here is that the executive arm, led by President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, is being structured such that every day you find other political minority groups in the country dissolving into the super APC structure. So when you have that kind of foundational understanding of the way the Nigerian system is operating, you will understand that the opposition parties, because not just one, at the forum where the leading opposition lights met last weekend, you find Dr. Rabiu Kwakwanso, one-time governor or two-time governor of Kano State, Northwest Nigeria, one-time defense minister, so on and so forth. He is a member of NNPP, New Nigerian People's Party. He spoke there. I think he actually delivered the keynote address. And he sounded a cautionary note that the process is rigged even before the election is taking place. You find people like former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Atiku Abubakar. You will pardon me, I do not like giving neo-colonial titles like Alhaji, this and that, to worthy leaders of our country. I think the proper thing to address them as is the Turaki, is it Waziri of Adamawa or Wakili, something like that. Please pardon me. I didn't intend to mix it up, but I honor him more, which is a traditional title given to him by the royalty and the people of Adamawa. Then you have people like Mr. Peter Obi, the then presidential flag bearer of a Labour Party, who recently decamped to the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and former Senate President, retired General David Mark, etc., etc. Yeah, it was a kind of array of who is who in the opposition firmament of the Nigerian nation at the moment. However, what are the immediate issues that is causing anguish within Nigeria's opposition fold? One, there is this timeline that was provided for in the revealed Electoral Act, that a party would need about 150 days or thereabout within which to prepare its membership register and make them available to the Independent National Electoral Commission. That has been compressed to 60 days. That calls for concern for them. And you will understand that the ruling party, APC, had perfected its own register. I think it started doing this like 5 years ago. And so now they boast that they have close to maybe between 40 to 60 million members across the country. That's number one. The ADC that has just find its voice and trying to secure its footing probably is still struggling to put that together. But if they start talking less, trying to beat the ruling party at its own game, and then they make the process, they digitalize the process, getting people to rush on and register with them through their online portals, and then which them is, an IT expert like you, Ola, could give them some advice on how to guarantee the security of that kind of organizational website where people can easily go and register online. They may still be able to do something about a process that appears to have been rigged already. Number two is the one that everybody was talking about, which took away attention from all the things that other traps that had been set into the new Electoral Act that was passed a few weeks back, which is the one that you read out to us, that results collated must be transmitted in real time, on the line, real time. And everybody turned the issue of real time, that phrase, to a major debate, discourse in Nigeria. What they are saying is that should be electronically what opposition and civil society groups in Nigeria would have wanted, would be electronic transmission of those results. Now, there are other provisions within there, but what the National Assembly succeeded at passing is an optional situation in which such could either be recorded and collated through what is known as Form E8 or something like that. Whether manually or electronically. But the fear of the public is that if that is going to be done manually, it is susceptible to what has always been the demon in the collection of past Nigerian electoral results, and that will be the evil hand of men. And people want to feel like it would be better to be trusting in technology, with technology and electronic devices. After all, the same system was able to make provision for the use of other devices through which issues of ballot snatching, ballot stuffing, violence, and what have you had been reduced. So they were thinking of getting all these things harmonized, articulated, such that there could be more credibility and integrity for the process. And ultimately, whatever is involved in this would have to be put to the test. Number one, to know if the argument from the opposition is valid or the position of the government of the day is the better reasoning. Until the process is tested and desired results or outcome are noted, it will be difficult to continue to want to say whether the opposition is right or the government is the one that is right. Yeah, all said and done, politicians are at the peak of
politicians.
Yes. What you have here now is a battle of wit, battle of will. But ultimately, what Nigerians, common folks like you and I, whether home and abroad, want to see is to really have a situation in which we would be able to serve this assurance that we are people that are worthy of trust and integrity in whatever we do, whether through political campaigns, whether through voting process, or the result of everything. I think Nigerians are tired of having the law courts determining who becomes the minders of the executive arm. They just want the people's voice to mean
To be
something.
heard.
They want the people's vote to also count. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making that concise. Ladies and gentlemen, join the conversation in the chat. 2027 has gotten started already. So join the conversation. We want to hear your thoughts on this one. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Operation Epic Fury and the fall of Tehran. Ladies and gentlemen, this past weekend has been quite an eventful weekend. The Ayatollah is dead. The US is at war, and the American First Promise has officially been shredded. The world woke up to a different map this morning. Over the weekend, President Trump launched Operation Epic Fury, a joint US-Israeli strike on Iran that has reportedly killed the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. While hawks in Washington are cheering the obliteration of Iran's command structure. What a word. Obliterate. The home front is in chaos. New polls show only 27% of Americans support this war. And even Trump's most loyal MAGA voices, like Tucker Carlson, are calling it a betrayal of his promise to end foreign entangles. With U.S. bases in the region already under retaliatory fire and oil prices surging, the president is now fighting a two-front war, one in the Middle East and one in the halls of Congress. So we've seen Trump raid Venezuela. That wasn't too long ago. We covered that story. But this is a global earthquake, many people are saying. Now, the question is this. As the president just walked into the very quagmire he spent a decade mocking, the sharp edge is yours, Chief. Take it away.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think he got himself entangled now. He's walked himself to a quagmire. Even more than a quagmire is a kind of debacle, and he would need the prayers of all of us American citizens, so such that also that it all does not end as a fiasco. Now, what are we talking about here? You call it obliteration. I even look beyond that. It's the decapitation of the entire leadership structure of the Iranian country. Of course, this country that we're talking of is a civilization that is almost 3,000, 5,000 years old. If you hear of the talk of Babylon in the Bible, it's no other place other than old Persia. And Persia is same as Iran. So with other prominent countries such as Abyssinia, that is today known as Ethiopia, and probably Liberia. Those were some of the few countries that were never colonized during the balkanization and partition of several places in Africa and Asia. And so they have always been very headstrong. And Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, yes, he's taken down. While alive, he was a polarizing figure. And the lesson of the fact that he was taken out could only be grounded in the fact that a leadership, whether elected or self-declared, like the one that the 1979 revolution of the clerics in Iran, such that that kind of thing that evolved from there, how to govern by through the trust of the people, the approval of the people, not taking on its own people. Apart from what has been well articulated about how evil that administration has been, not even with the first Ayatollah, that Khomeini, that passed on in 1989, paving way for Khamenei or Khamenei, who came from the village of Khamenei or Khamenei down there in Iran. You know, he took things way to the extreme notch. And there were times through the option of balloting when some presidents had come trying to modify or reform things. Khamenei himself became an obstacle to all that. And as recent as a few months back, the world witnessed very gory, macabre, and tragic mass killing of opposition figures across Iran. And that certainly could not make anybody happy or excited about the fact that this guy and the leadership which he represented, which he symbolized, should not fall. However, everybody that thinks of the what's it called, the legality under international rules, that a whole country's a spiritual leader or symbol of a country's sovereignty was taken out the way Khamenei was taken out this past Saturday, would question what America was doing there. The fear is that probably President Donald J. Trump, although maybe acting out of concern for the suffering people, the majority of the suffering people of the country of Iran, what people suspected is that he probably allowed himself to be manipulated by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We do not have all the facts. When people go to work or when they declare unilateral action, certain things must be looked into. We don't have access to the kind of intelligence that prompted Trump to do what he did. We do not have we do not have such access. We do not have such privilege. However, we cannot be blinded to the fact that wars do not produce any positive thing, because ultimately, at the end of the day, people will still have to sit down at the round table and negotiate. So why put the thing that ought to be the last to be the first? Beyond that, where is the all-important congressional approval for this to take place? Honestly, like I've always said, if you corner President Donald Trump on an issue, he finds a way of taking attention away from that. I do not really want to say too much at this point, because when a nation is at war, whether in Nigeria, it's Nigeria or the United States of America or any country for that matter, anywhere in the world, there must first be that support for the troops. Mark my word, the troops, not for President Donald Trump at this moment, because his agenda is foggy, it is fuzzy, and it looks to me like something that has more to it than we know at this point. And let us think of what this portends for the world. Already, you see Iran going the way of widening geographical retaliations. 3,000 miles to Cyprus, there had been an attack. I do not know what that is for. 3,000 miles to Oman, on the, what's it called? Western and eastern flanks of the Arabian Peninsula and elsewhere there. They are just attacking. And I hate to talk in a way that shows insensitivity to the plight of people that are visually challenged. I don't want to say that, I want to use the popular mantra that probably the Iranians are fighting like a blind man with the stick. But here, I think the response of Iran is beginning to take the dimension of trying to globalize the entire fight to stoke a third world war. I do not know if this is the threshold of it, but what I see here is a situation in which the world is already beginning to catch some, it's beginning to sneeze because of this ongoing action. Today, oil prices have tanked, especially in the critical places that you will think, because the entire Arabian Peninsula produces about 40% of the total global oil supply, crude. And then now, because of this action, already the price has jacked up to about $80 per barrel today, and nobody knows when this is going to stop. But what we know is that this is already precipitating a major inflation globally. And for people that are looking at it as, oh, is this the war that will end all wars? Certainly not, because nobody is that angry, nobody is that crazy to want to attempt what has always been known as MAD, mutually assured destruction, by trying to put the finger on a nuclear bodies or nuclear missiles. And that is what Netanyahu said his argument has always been, to make sure that Iran does not have that capability. And really, with what has been going on, just shooting in all directions and grinding international aviation, making sure that civilian populations are also become illegitimate targets. You would understand that, nobody should have trusted the government in Iran with acquiring ballistic missiles or nuclear facilities that could endanger the rest of humanity. This is one push the world has really embarked on for, since the end of the Second World War. And now that is appearing to be already elusive, So the point we're making here is that this situation would have to be managed. And if going to war, thinking that the MAGA base in America would rally support for him, or would guarantee some level of success, victory at the midterm polls later this year, I think it's so obvious now from the polls that are already showing that maybe around 27% of Americans wish President Donald Trump well in this adventure, or do we say misadventure? Whatever happens, the troops would continue to have our respect, and we think this should be done in a surgical fashion, and everybody should just sheath the sword and make sure that we have a better world. However, this is also an indication that we may continue to find ourselves increasingly isolated because of some of the hot-headed actions that we are taking. Are these interests in are these actions in the best interest of the United States of America? Nobody would be able to say for now, but on the long run, let us see what will come out of all this. Thank you very much.
Wow. Okay. With that being said, this is crazy. These are the last headlines within the last about 15 minutes ago. Trump warns Iran about larger strikes as U.S. urges Americans to depart region. This is on CNN. The New York Times says, this is 4 minutes ago, Trump suggests extended war on Iran as U.S. adds to forces in Middle East. Then CNBC, Iran war, U.S. embassy in Riyadh hit by drones. So those are some of the things going on around the world with regards to the story. We'll keep an eye on it. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications.
Sorry, one more
Sure.
addition.
Sure.
More addition. Okay. Already we see people taking to the streets in Karachi, Pakistan, and elsewhere, protests by. But I want to ask, this thing that is leading to infants and whatever calling for death, making a war cry of death to America, this to Israel on the streets of Nigeria. We have more than enough issues in our land of birth, Nigeria, than to want to die by other people's issues and wars. Because the way our people get unduly excited about protests and the way government permits for that, they don't even allow pro-democracy protests to go in Nigeria peacefully, and they allow all these people to march together to want to be shouting death to this, death to that. Wrong ideology, and the government must be proactive, because if whatever they are doing there snowballs out of control, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would have to accept responsibility. So this is a good time for them to nip whatever is going on in Nigeria in the bud.
All right. Hit like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so we're notified when we go live. Join the conversation in the comments. We would like to hear from you on these stories. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Wike versus Ireti Kingibe no return declaration. Wow, no projects, no seat. Wike has officially told Senator Kingibe to start packing her bags for 2027. The battle for the soul of the FCT, Federal Capital Territory, has just turned into a political execution. In a fiery address today, Minister Nyesom Wike took direct aim at Senator Ireti Kingibe, declaring that she would not return to the Senate in 2027 because she has zero projects to show the people of Abuja. Wike mocked the senator, suggesting she spends more time on television than in the trenches of the capital city. Kingibe, who recently defected to the ADC, has fired back, claiming Wike is not the god of Abuja and cannot determine her destiny. But with Wike flogging the FCT into...
Wike is not what? Wike is not the god of...
Wike is not the god of Abuja, and cannot determine her destiny. But with Wike flogging the FCT with infrastructure projects as we speak, the political pressure is mounting. Wike is playing a high-stakes game of performance versus popularity, I guess. Now the question is this: can a senator survive in Abuja without the minister's blessing? Or is Kingibe's 2027 ambition already dead in the water? Again, one more time, give us the sharp edge, Chief.
Thank you very much. Well, let me put it this way. I think Wike has an exaggerated view of himself and his place and the office he occupies, which to me is, yes, I do not pretend to be a psychiatrist, and I am not a psychologist, but let me also attempt, within the canons of my training as a literarist and grammarian and journalist, to say that I think he's suffering from megalomania, illusion of grandeur, because come to think of it, Wike, maybe because of the undue access is granted to media platforms through this is Alawada once in a while media chat, is thinking that he is somebody. I mean, he's not even a registered voter in Abuja, only in Nigeria. He's supposed to be working as a minister, but he uses state resources to orchestrate all kinds of attacks and drama and actions as if it is his money. In Senate claims, Wike will be in trouble because he's supposed to be, as a public officer at the moment, he's supposed to mind the business of governance. But what he is doing is to play politics and run, what's it called? Metaphoric verbal diarrhea. You know, he runs his mouth too much, and he needs to be given some jack of inoculation to reset that mouth. So no project, no victory. Is the senator voted into office in order to do projects? That is an executive arm of a thing. And forget that it's been breaking several laws, executing projects that are not appropriated or that are not even brought before procurement bodies. And he thinks he's doing very well. Yes, what would he have done as a minister if he doesn't superintend projects or what I would call capital works in the Federal Capital Territory? He's done so many things. I watched his media chat earlier in the day, the one you described as being fiery. The truth of the matter is that I don't see, or I did not see any substance to whatever he was doing there. He was talking over and above some of the people that are old enough to give birth to him. For example, our senior colleague who handles the whole thing is old enough to be a father to Wike, Mr. Aruleba from Ikere-Ekiti. I mean, Ola, for you to know the kind of person we're talking of. This Mr. Aruleba is a contemporary of our own big brother, Basharumba Abitogun, and others. These were people alongside Mr. Gbenga, formerly of NTA, who practiced journalism together in old Ondo State. And so for Wike to be talking down on them, and they're always saying, you don't know anything, he must win in every argument, so indecorous. So it's alive and doing well and kicking in the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu because he's recruited to do just that. So if Ireti Kingibe comes back to office or if she does not, that cannot be a major trophy for somebody like Jason Wike. Jason Wike is only relevant in what he knows how to do best because, like I've always said, he's a useful idiot. And you know, when the game is really playing somebody and you think you are the one that is playing the game, this is how it feels. This is how it feels. With all the insecurity all over the place, when people are alive, they can enjoy infrastructures. But what is the quality of life people live in the FCT today? When I lived there, I remember the way it was. Now, can you compare between then and now? And Wike is everywhere with his husky and the hawkish tone and a voice as if he has accomplished what has never been accomplished. If you have unchecked, never scrutinized latitude to just spend like a drunken sailor, what would you do? Anybody with enough resources would do whatever Wike is doing. So this is what everybody must experience before 2027 comes in Nigeria, but with elements like Yes Wike and other agent provocateurs that seem to be working for the interest of getting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu re-elected. This is what you will get. And I hope President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would have seen the lessons around him all over the world, whether with President Donald Trump, whether in the unfolding situation uh, in what's it called, West Asia or Middle East, whichever way anybody loves to position it or describe it. You need the support of the people, not an entertaining dancing mantis like Wike to be denigrating everybody. It's just too loquacious for my liking, and I think it's just unbridled and lawless. Somebody needs to caution him. At the end of the day, when he's done playing his round on the political stage, he will be gone. Another set of people will be there. But this man, no. And you see the way the journalists were said, oh no. When I watched that show today, I looked at the abysmal and shameful performance of some journalists. Almost just giving, they tried initially to point it to him, how he tried to make an undue leverage and influence on the local government elections that recently took place in Amak and Gwagwalada and elsewhere. They tried, but you know him. He would hardly allow for anybody to express any view around him. He knew it all. He had all the answers, even to questions that had not been asked. Who is he playing? When that quiet moment comes, when he's sleeping and that thing pops up from his subconscious, what kind of dream does he normally have in his sleep? I think Wike ought to take it cool, kada, small. He just has to proceed with caution in life. The way he talks, all power belongs to God, and it flows from God. He will show favor to those he likes. If he likes, he will allow Ireti Kingibe to come back as a senator. If he does not want, at least he's been a senator. If Wike wants to be a senator in the future, good luck. But at least she has been a senator now before Wike. So for Wike to now want to declare with magisterial finality and zest, she won't come back. You will mock and all that. Thank God, Ireti Kingibe has a voice, and she has, an appropriate, typical African mother's tongue to let him know, Wike, you are not the god of Abuja. So this is just the way it is. Thank you so much.
Wow. Now the question, I was laughing, but I didn't want to interrupt. Now my question for you, because this one, I'm not going to let you off easily. Is it God that will allow her back, or the people of Abuja want her back? Does she have...
Even if the people of Abuja want her back, with what what we have all noticed about the electoral processes so far, would they let the
votes count?
People prevail?
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That is why somebody would make that kind of arrogant declaration.
Because he thinks he's going to order whatever the result is going to be anyway.
He has it on that.
Because there's another statement here. I'm looking at this headline from Arise News. Not Arise News. Actually, this is on Business Day, Nigeria. It says, I will support any candidate backing Tinubu's re-election bid. This is a quote from, allegedly, from Wike.
Well, if he said that, what does he live for? This is a young politician now.
To me, it sounds like it's a confusion. It sounds like he's representing because he's still in PDP, right? He's like positioned there to be a confusion.
No, he's not confused. It's just being...
No, not him confused. He's positioned there to be a confusion to the people because he's still a PDP, and he refuses to leave PDP, but yet is supporting everything
in whatever
the bid of Tinubu.
Yeah, it's happening like that because of the absolute reign that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has. Otherwise, is it constitutional for him to belong to two political parties at the same time? Is it constitutional?
Does he belong to two political parties at the same time?
But he does, but the pretense that it displays, the facade it gives out is that, he belongs to PDP. Is it the PDP that he has assisted to bury So this is what the issues are. He's doing everything that he's doing because he has the backing of a federal might in Nigeria. And should anybody be talking of federal might if indeed there was real democracy
Okay,
or
okay.
real federalism?
So I know you've answered quite. You've given a very good analysis, right? But once and for all, can a senator survive in Abuja without the minister's blessing? Just a honest question from me.
It's settled. They were surviving. Opposition parties were winning in Abuja until these people, like I told you, these are master riggers of elections. They are perfected that now at all costs. He even said it in the state. In the press at the press conference today. He said, but President Tinubu sat him down and said, "Oh, let us work at that problem that always made opposition parties to win in Abuja." So, like it's almost like Adolf Hitler said, "Oh, I find the solution to the problem of the world is Jewry, is the Jewish people." That is almost what he is saying. He has found the key to the whole matter. That is what evil-minded people would do, and that is why you find them always trying in a free and fair election. In America, would a Republican come and confess to you that, "Oh, I'm sure I can win this election"? It is never clear cut. In the state of Kansas, where I am tonight, it's always a given. It's always taken for granted that, oh, Republicans would always win. But do you know that where I am, this my what's it called? Federal constituency that produced a member of House of Representatives. That ticket, that seat, is held by a Democrat. So to want to sound so prophetic and conclusive to say that, oh, Kingibe will not be elected, he would only talk like that because the system is rigged and it's not credible. In a credible situation, he would speak with caution. But yes, Wike, it's so deficit. Yes, it's deficit when it comes to caution. It doesn't have that.
All right. All right. Hit like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Join the conversation in the comment section. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. You're watching Sharp Edge News TV. We're now diving into the weekly Sharp Edge News special. Without any further ado, welcome back to the special stage, our very special stage here. Welcome back, Publisher, Editor-in-Chief, and High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Ola.
Yes.
Always my pleasure to, and let me also express gratitude to you for always bringing me back, and my appreciation to our viewers all over the world. Our special will start on the note of what is going on the Plateau and Benue states in Nigeria. It's suspected, and the Christian leaders are crying out that the troops that came, the assurance is served by President Donald Trump, may already have been hijacked and diverted by the government in Nigeria that has always given protection to the oppressors in the land, that is marauding and pervasive killer squads known as terrorists, sometimes called bandits, and sometimes called Fulani headsmen, whatever, and some of them are kidnappers who are into this all for the gains and the local benefits they make from crisis and crime. So they said instead of American troops being on the plateau and making their presence felt, in north central Nigeria, states such as Benue, Kogi, Kwara, and maybe Niger State, and probably those states as well. That these people have been cornered and they are stationed now permanently in northwestern axis, northern part of Nigeria. I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should look into that, and President Donald Trump as well, if he is listening, if he's watching us, or if anybody in his office is able to pass on the message to him. Those people must do what they are in Nigeria to do, protect the vulnerable, and make sure that this attempt at establishing a modern era caliphate is stopped. After all, the British were able to do that effectively in 1903. And that can be done, and it should be done. That is number one. Number two is the issue of the Minister of Works in Nigeria, Mr. Dave Umahi. He's made a clever attempt at changing the topic from his attempt at using arbitrarily using the police to oppress somebody who is suspected to be a creditor. It was said that this woman, one Mrs. Ohiri, handled the production of some campaign materials for the minister while he was deputy governor of Ebonyi State years back. And she said what she spent initially in making that production was about 24 point whatever million naira. But that over time, interest had accrued and the thing had ballooned to more than 250 million to 300 million naira. And she wanted to be paid. Now, things have led to one thing has led to another, and she was alleging that the minister would not pay her. Instead of getting paid, she was sexually harassed because she turned down, allegedly, the overtures from the minister. The minister would not pay her money, and then making several demands and sustained calls on the minister to pay up. The minister decided to use the police to charge her to court under whatever is called, maybe cybercrime, whatever. It is not proper for the instrument of state to coerce anybody. And at SharpEdge News, we reached out to the correctional service leadership on alleged attempt at using a false judgment from a magistrate to to take the woman to correctional facility in Kefi. The leadership of the correctional service spoke with us and they said no, they would not be part of whatever politics the minister was playing, but that they were following legitimate processes and procedure concerning how people are kept in their facility, and that the lady was subsequently released when the magistrate signed off on bail papers, and that all the correctional service was doing was to make sure that the proper conditions were fulfilled for her bail to be perfected so that she could be released, and that she has since been released. But kudos to the publisher of Sahara Reporters and notable political and social activist, Mr. Omoyele Sowore, for making sure that this woman was not violated because of who she is or circumstance of her birth. So that is the situation. But Mr. Umahi should be mindful of the fact that she, as a minister of the Federal Republic, she is also supposed to be a public servant, a servant of the people. He has to be humble. There are several allegations trailing him, including the unexplained murder of the king of Umueze, Okoha, in Ezanot local government of Ebonyi State. How the king was beheaded while Umahi was the governor. That has not been explained. Umahi should tread with caution. And Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not always find it comfortable to keep within his fold people who have this kind of tendencies. We were talking of yes in Wike. Now, here is another situation in which an arrogant minister is being condoned by the administration in Nigeria. There must be a rethink about that. And then let us applaud the appointment of a new Inspector General of Police. The Police Service Commission, or the police committee or commission, whatever it is, that met with the president, has deliberated on this matter, and they have given their nod. We do not know, because there is no constitutional provision for a newly appointed Inspector General of Police, in this case, Mr. Tunji Disu, to appear before the Senate for a mandatory statutory screening. So we wish him well as he continues in this. But if he's going to be our Inspector General of Police in Nigeria, you must police well. And we believe that that structure is able to win again the trust of Nigerians. But as it is now, not many Nigerians trust the police in that country. And Tunji Disu has that onerous task of repositioning the service. Like he has said, that human rights will be respected. I've been seeing what has happened in West Asia. Don't use the police to oppress Nigerians. Allow the people to breathe. Let them protest if they want to protest, although in a peaceful fashion. It is their constitutional right. Too often, the Nigerian police comes out shooting canisters of tear gas, live bullets, and killing people. I hope someday Tunji Disu will check the files, try to hold some people accountable for the killings during EdSARS and other protests all over Nigeria. The other issue is the invasion of Usho last week, Usho, in our local government, Nigeria. Sadly enough, some people treated that subject with levity. And I'm calling the attention of the Nigeria's newly appointed Inspector General of Police to the issue that happened at Usho. The police must get its bearing right. 6 people were kidnapped at Celestial Church, Usho. Though the Yoruba language is tonal. You want to, pronounce Usho instead of all kinds of journalists mispronouncing the name of Usho last week.
What was it called?
Yeah, somebody said Usho, particularly Dr. Abati. All of them were just calling all kinds of stuff in the media in Nigeria. And even as a Yoruba journalist, I remember in those days, whenever I needed to travel to the Southeast to do some reports on Igbo festivals and what have you, I took my time. If I did not know how to pronounce any word, I would sit down with an Igbo person and they would teach me the proper articulation. So Usho, evolving from the word Ishowo, trading post.
Ishowo.
Yes.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yes, and when these kidnapped victims were being taken away, they were taken through the bush path. So let me offer this intelligence clue from SharpEdge News, free of charge. When people are taken through the axis through which they went, all the way through Okadula, you should know that they are headed towards the rocky hills of Power Line after Agodada, inside that bush. So you want to close in on them. Maybe I don't want to give out too much. Reach out to me. I will tell you on how to encircle all the kinds of evil doers, kidnappers, and their enablers in the community there, where they are always in the rocky hills of the place called Power Line, in the bush there. They could come in through Okada on the Bini or the expressway. They could come in through Idore and wherever. But these people are locked inside there and they are tormenting our people. And the fact that one of those 6 kidnapped victims escaped, only for the police to report and plant falsehood in the media that he was rescued. He was not rescued. He escaped. He initially escaped alongside another individual, and he took a dive inside a dish at Okeagula. That is under Ayede Ogbese. So the other guy that made an attempt to escape after those bandits or those kidnappers were firing volleys of shots. Probably they recaptured him because the police went back there to trace if there was blood trail on the path. I mean, for me to be giving all these details, you will know we did a thorough job of researching or investigating what happened there. So call Usho properly, and then let me send a note of caution to the police area commander that came from Owo. We didn't like the insulting way in which you stretch your hand out to have an handshake with a Kabiyesi Oloba of Usho. Next time, you do not do that to a king. You dishonor all these royal fathers, and then later on, you would say this happened to them. You don't do that. That was so disrespectful. But do your work, and we trust that you will continue to keep the peace in the community. Now, again, note of warning: if we must make Nigeria secure, let us keep Nigeria secure. The Shiite or Iranian sympathizers all over Nigeria protesting, go back home. This does not concern you. Probably you don't even know that Arabs don't see us as anything, as black people. They first will refer to us as slaves before they even know that we are human beings. The Western nations, Americans, Britons, Europeans, they did so well in trying to refocus and repent of the evil of slavery and subjugation. But the Arabs never. All this nonsense that you are being sold, that you are one in camaraderie as a fellow Muslim, it only works to the extent that they are using you. Go back home. You go back home. As Zaki, talk to your people. We don't want that kind of tension in our place. Let Arabs or Iranians take care of their problems. And Nigerians, we have too much on our plate. So now, I mean, as at now, to want to begin to die in other people's war. We can't die in their war. The poor in Nigeria is already suffering enough. Let us mind our business. Finally, I want to celebrate a mother in the house, somebody that is part of this family, this project, whatever we do. I'm not talking of any other person other than an Eba that I can never argue with. When I say Basi, she tells me Bawa. I don't see her as a wife. I see her as a sister. I see her as a major matriarch in the Abitogun family. I'm talking of the wife to my producer, Mrs. Damilola Ola Abitogun. Tomorrow is her birthday. It's a new age for her. It's a landmark age. We're celebrating her for being a good mother, for being a good sister, for being a good wife, a good daughter, and everything you can think of. This dazzling beauty makes sure that things go on smoothly for all of us, not just in our own nucleus family, but in the wider family of the Abitoguns. So, happy birthday, long life, prosperity, and yes, we will talk about the implications. What happens after that celebration tomorrow, how we are going to have the jollof rice, dodo, and all. Ola, what do you have to say about your wife?
Oh, my wife. Oh, she's too much. I will definitely be celebrating her. She's everything. So that's all I have to say for now. Let's just say I'm speechless, but I'm very grateful for having her, like you said, in our lives. So just like I said, the last time we celebrated my mother, she's also somebody I get very jealous about. So I'm glad that you corrected that today. You called me to see what I have to say. That,
Thank you.
but we all get to share, this beautiful people, but particularly my beautiful wife, Damilola
And
Olabitogun. So
please remember to let the world know that she's also a published author, just
yes,
alongside you.
yes,
She's a
but I'm
published
but
author.
I'm blushing on her behalf right now already.
She's a beautician, right?
Yes, she is. She is.
For
She's
high class,
she's a whole she's a whole lot of she's a whole
not just a roadside beautician, right?
yes, she is. She's a lot. She has a lot going on, but she's such a beautiful soul. Most importantly, and like you said, a wife, a favor, you know. So, but thank you for celebrating my wife. Thank you. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you hear me clapping for her?
Yes,
And for
yes,
you?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I hear the clap for sure, for sure, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. So yes, so
You still want to say some
no, no,
more?
that was it. That was it. That was it.
And let the world know that you are few miles away from where I am, because all the way you traveled all the way down from the East Coast, and you are somewhere, Springfield,
I'm in
Missouri.
the middle of Sambisa Forest in the United States somewhere.
We
And
don't we do not say that. You say you are in the
okay.
middle of nowhere. What do you
Okay.
mean?
No, Sambisa is just called Sambisa Forest.
This is the
So
heartland.
that's all
Welcome
they
to the
need. That's
heartland.
all they need to know. That's all they need to know.
Ola, you
Yes.
welcome to the heartland.
The
And
Heartland. Is that what
yes,
it's
the
called?
heartland. This is
Okay.
the heartland. This is the very middle, the what's it called? The very middle of the United States of America. This is
Oh,
the
really?
equidistant. Yes, this is the equidistant point to every coast
To
of
every part of the
the
edges of the
yes,
United States. Okay, okay, okay,
edges of the
okay.
United. This is
Yeah.
the heartland. So welcome, and thanks for
Okay.
being around us. And let them know
Thank
about
you.
the
Thank you.
Branson Resort. Is the alternate to Disneyland, and that is where you are tonight. Have fun, my brother.
I would try to have fun while I'm at work.
Right, right.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Everybody, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Let's just help us. We appreciate you for being here. We appreciate you for always sharing the post, the videos, the shorts. We love it. Thank you so much. We're seeing the numbers. So please continue to help us. We have a long way to go. We've also noticed that more than 60% of you are watching and you're not subscribed. So just go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. We just love to see the numbers. We love that you're watching already. We love to see the numbers. It also sends the signals to the algorithms that you're loving what we're doing. But we could tell that you're coming back, but you're not hitting subscribe. So please go ahead and hit the subscribe right about now so you don't forget later. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you on the next one. Take care and God bless.